or more inputs or a matrix of inputs to make a synthesis, which is something that is greater than the parts of its original inputs. And this, I might digress here slightly. That there is a to our knowledge an imbalance in the universe between matter and antimatter, which kind of proves that a synthesis can be greater than the inputs that are in. Originally, there might have been a very small imbalance between those things that created the Big Bang, but also people believe now the Big Bang could be a big bounce, or there might be multiple universes which are some are antimatter with a small minority of matter in them, and some are matter like our own with some antimatter in them. So it sort of shows the empirical thing that a synthesis can be greater than its inputs. It's not a naught-sum game. So developing social and information connections between everyone so that imperfect and secret knowledge becomes a disadvantage. This will mean that as social information connections grow, so will economic connections in parallel with each other as a synthesis, which means more human connections and more opportunities for progress. This will mean human beings using rational means. It could be Western or non-Western, but as long as they're rational and empirical means that make our species more apt to survive and prosper. The strength of a matrix of cooperatives is that they promote aptness to survival via reward for workforce, shareholders, responsibility and investments in effort in their work and in research and development, as profits are invested. And I didn't write this section here, but I didn't write this sentence here that I'm about to say, but the investment is not something that is lost because it's developing the entire firm, the whole through technology and extracting utility from the commodities that they're turning into goods and services, which is a reflection of that utility. It means that when they go to sell those goods and services to citizens who are also consumers of those goods and services, that the whole volume of wages and share price is going to increase. So in essence, they have created real money value, rather than just what a bank would try and do is inflate the currency to manipulate the perception of people of that money's value. Very different concept. Money is only a signal marker to help us understand the true context in which we find ourselves in the natural world. Money is a means to an end, not an end in itself. Yeah? Or money is not an end in itself. What is the cost of failure in not understanding money? The cost of failure of understanding the conceptual mean of money. The first I might say before I go on, sight or eyes in creatures have gone extinct 8 times, and they've redeveloped 8 times. So there is a niche and a need for animals to receive signals from nature via sensory information to help them understand the world, to become more apt to survive and reproduce. Money, in human history, as a concept within which there are other concepts like which I've covered in detail, has recreated itself in many different cultures, i.e. the norms which people and innovations people use to solve the problem of using resources around them to gain utility so that people can keep surviving and reproducing genetically. So memes are in the service of that. Those ideas that recreate themselves. There are, as I said before with Marxism, there are some suicidal memes which I'm about to talk about here, which are selfish memes, which of which Marxism is a sub meme of the meme of totalitarianism and tyranny. Yeah? Tyranny being the operative model of totalitarianism, or its end product. What does this mean, really, for human beings? I feel strongly about solving the paradox of money and the misconception folks have about what money is, because, of course, it's not exclusive to economists or people digging holes in the ground and building. And since I've done both those roles, as a builder and as a labourer, I should say, doing a bit of bricky work and also studying economics, there is widely misconceptions about what money is. So I feel strongly about solving the paradox of money and the misconception folks have about what money is. This is why we have economic political conflicts that cause wars, genocide, slavery and tyranny. Tyranny being an irrational suicidal meme that corrupts human actions to the end of reducing the aptness of survival of the whole species. These are problems our species must solve if we are to be apt to survive. Yeah? And our survival is not just about having a good life, although I'm sort of giving my stoic view there of it's also important that we pass on to not only to the next generation our genetic material, which that they are a product, but to recreate ourselves, via the biological process, having larger families, but also that the memes which serve us in that process, rationality and virtues, are also important, and that will help us have a good life rather than just perceiving that pleasure, which is what Epicureans, the critique that Stoics gave to Epicureans was that they just enjoyed pleasure, but those pleasures weren't, in turn, Epicurean pleasures weren't base pleasures. They were to have just enough saltfish or tuna steak or just enough learning to not trouble the mind, It's this tension between them which has helped grow Western society. The Epicureans saying that nothing is absolutely knowable gave us the scientific method of reducing the margin of error, and on the other hand the Stoics saying that no, you've got to go out of the cave and search for as much knowledge as you can possibly know, and use reason to be apt to the context you find yourself in.